Zelda Fitzgerald, 1920s. She danced on tabletops, dove into hotel fountains, and was once arrested just for being too loud in Pearls. But she wasn't acting, she was living, and the press couldn't look away. Before It Girl had a name, Zelda Fitzgerald became the first one you could print. In the 1920s, American media was changing. Cities were growing, newspapers were multiplying, and young women were finally being photographed as subjects, not just scenery. Zelda stepped into that moment like it was made for her. Married to F. Scott Fitzgerald, she was already tied to the decade's defining myth. But while he wrote the Jazz Age, she embodied it. Zelda wore rising hemlines and smoked cigarettes in public, but so did many flappers. What made her different was unpredictability. She turned social rebellion into performance art. Reporters covered her as if she were a character in a serialized novel, and she played into it, not just with stunts, but with essays and fiction that hinted she was in on the joke. When her mental health declined, the coverage didn't stop. It intensified. Her life proved that fame in modern culture isn't a reward, it's a contract. And once you become a symbol, you can't opt out. Zelda wasn't chasing celebrity. She was caught in the system that just discovered how to manufacture it. Clara Bow, 1930s. She didn't learn charisma, she leaked it. Eyes wide, mouth open, emotions unfiltered, Clara Bow didn't act like a star. She made the audience feel like they already knew her, and that made her dangerous and wildly profitable. In 1927, she starred in the silent film It, a romantic comedy that gave rise to the term It Girl. But Clara didn't just play the role. She defined the category. Her version of femininity was electric, messy, impulsive, and impossible to package. She came from Brooklyn poverty, which made her a rare symbol of social mobility. She wasn't polished or poised, and that was her appeal. In the silent era, expressiveness mattered more than speech. Bow's face could shift from vulnerable to seductive in a single frame, making her ideal for a visual medium that demanded no words but all feeling. But when sound films arrived, so did new rules. Clear accents, rehearsed scripts, verbal control. Clara had none of these. The system that made her famous suddenly required a different kind of star. Her working-class accent, once endearing, was now treated like a flaw. Her public meltdowns became tabloid fodder. She didn't fade out, she was replaced by a format she no longer fit. Clara proved that it wasn't about who you were, it was about how long you matched the moment. Rita Hayworth, 1940s. She was printed, pinned, folded, and shipped across the world. Red lips, red hair, a single glove sliding off her arm. Rita Hayworth wasn't just a star. She was morale in makeup. During World War II, the US government and Hollywood worked hand in hand. Films became distraction, and stars became strategy. Rita Hayworth was their most effective export. In her now iconic Gilda performance, she didn't strip. She removed a single glove and turned restraint into desire. Her image was everywhere, on bomber planes, in barracks, in soldiers' pockets. The pinup wasn't just decoration, it was a portable fantasy, optimized for morale and repetition. But that fantasy was built. Born Margarita Canzino, she changed her name, dyed her hair, and even underwent electrolysis to raise her hairline. Studio engineers reshaped her for the camera, and she agreed to it, because visibility in this system required transformation. Rita's iconography proved that mass production could create intimacy. You didn't have to hear her speak or know her story. You just had to see the photo and remember it. And that was the point. She wasn't performing for a stage, she was performing for reproduction. Rita Hayworth was the first It Girl manufactured not for fame, but for distribution. Marilyn Monroe, 1950s. She smiled like a secret, walked like a question. The voice was breathy, the silhouette was math. Marilyn Monroe wasn't just famous, she was standardized. In the 1950s, fame became industrial. Movie studios built stars the way ad agencies build products, through consistency, saturation, and emotional packaging. Marilyn was the most successful result. She didn't create the blonde bombshell. She became its blueprint. The platinum hair, red lips, soft voice, and low-cut dresses weren't just style, they were instructions. Every photo told you what to think. Soft, safe, sexy, vulnerable. She embodied the fantasy perfectly, which made it hard to ever be anything else. But Marilyn wasn't passive. She studied acting, started her own production company, chased serious roles and self-respect. The public, however, didn't want her to evolve. They wanted her to stay frozen, desirable, simple, tragic. So every misstep, late arrivals, failed marriages, rumored pills, became fuel. The same system that made her visible also made her stuck. She was a woman in motion who had to stand still for the camera. Her death at 36 sealed her image in place forever. Unchanging, untouchable. Marilyn didn't just show what fame could do, she showed what it couldn't undo. Twiggy. 1960s. No curves, no scandal. No script, just lashes, lines, and geometry. Twiggy didn't become an it girl by seducing the camera, she matched it. The 1960s marked a shift in what the world wanted to look at. Film stars were still powerful, but magazines and department stores were taking over the culture pipeline. The new icons weren't actresses, they were models. Twiggy was the most iconic of them all. She was just 16 when her face, wide eyes, sharp cheekbones, cropped hair, started appearing everywhere. Her body wasn't bombshell, it was blueprint. Skinny, androgynous, stylized. She didn't need charisma, she needed contrast. Fashion was moving toward minimalism and repetition. Mod dresses, clean silhouettes, bold prints. Twiggy's frame made the clothes into symbols. Her image worked in tabloids, in Paris shop windows, in Vogue layouts. No voice, no narrative. Just aesthetic consistency. She didn't tell stories. She was styled into them, and that was her power. She wasn't a woman you followed. She was a template you could use. Twiggy didn't speak, but the industry said everything through her. Bianca Jagger, 1970s. She rode a white horse into Studio 54, wore tuxedos with nothing underneath. Bianca Jagger didn't act, sing, or model. She arrived, and that was enough. The 1970s blurred the line between nightlife and media. Studio 54 wasn't just a club, it was a stage with no script. Celebrities, designers, editors, and photographers collided in a single flashlit room. If you could be seen there, you didn't need a resume, you needed a moment. Bianca understood this perfectly. Her outfits, plunging gowns, tailored suits, veils, fur, weren't fashion, they were composition. She made sure her silhouette read in photographs the way a logo reads on a billboard. Clean, intentional, reproducible. But she didn't just show up to be looked at, she redirected attention. While her fashion choices filled society pages, she quietly used her visibility to champion human rights and political causes. She proved you could weaponize glamour. The paparazzi gave her a spotlight, and she chose where to point it. Bianca Jagger didn't need to talk. She just needed to be seen, and she controlled every pixel of what you saw. She turned nightlife into media, and herself into the message. Princess Diana, 1980s. She wore a black dress the night her husband confessed to cheating. She hugged AIDS patients before the press was ready. She didn't rebel with words. She used outfits, posture, silence. Princess Diana didn't just break royal protocol, she rewrote media logic. In the 1980s, the British monarchy offered stability, staged events, controlled photo ops, inherited power. But Diana disrupted that stage by becoming its center. Her marriage to Prince Charles gave her a platform. Her visibility gave her leverage. Every outfit became a headline. Oversized sweatshirts turned into street-style canon. Gowns signaled emotional states. And one off-the-shoulder black dress, worn the same night Charles admitted infidelity, was renamed forever, the revenge dress. Diana's genius wasn't just fashion, it was fluency. She understood how the camera framed, how tabloids interpreted, and how viewers filled in the blanks. She made vulnerability look powerful, and power look human. Unlike past it girls, Diana didn't exist in Hollywood or fashion. She existed inside an institution, and yet she outshined it. That's what made her dangerous and iconic. She didn't need a press conference. She had a closet, and the whole world listened. Winona Ryder, 1990s. She didn't smile for cameras. She wore thrift store jackets, black eyeliner, and panic like perfume. Winona Ryder wasn't polished, and that made her magnetic. She didn't chase the spotlight, she haunted it. The 1990s rejected perfection. Glossy supermodels gave way to grunge, minimalism, and visible emotion. Winona Ryder embodied that shift. On screen, she played the outsider. In Heathers, Reality Bites, Girl Interrupted. Off-screen, she looked like she wandered in from the same world. She didn't perform likability. She whispered awkwardness, fidgeted in interviews, looked down, not out. Her appeal wasn't constructed, it was familiar, and that made her revolutionary. She showed that girls didn't need to sparkle to be seen. They could be anxious, pale, quiet, smart. Winona gave an entire generation permission to be weird and still feel wanted. Then came the scandal. In 2001, she was caught shoplifting from Saks Fifth Avenue. The media swarmed, but the public didn't cancel her. They understood, because Winona had never sold perfection. She had sold reality. She wasn't the it girl because she tried to be. She was the it girl because she didn't. Paris Hilton, 2000s. Tiny dog, tiny purse, giant influence. She said, "That's hot," and turned it into a business strategy. Paris Hilton didn't chase attention, she industrialized it. In the early 2000s, paparazzi ruled culture. Every sidewalk became a runway. Every Starbucks run became a headline. Paris Hilton mastered that environment. She didn't need a hit single or movie role. Her brand was being watched. She styled herself like an ad campaign. Rhinestones, Von Dutch hats, juicy couture, tan lines, catchphrases. Every photo was marketable. Every mistake was monetizable. Her reality show, The Simple Life, wasn't just entertainment. It was a case study in brand construction. Paris played dumb blonde while running a fragrance empire and licensing her name to dozens of products. She was the first to prove you didn't need to do something to be famous. You just had to make visibility look valuable. The more she appeared, the more she was worth. Paris didn't bend the rules of fame, she replaced them. She made being seen the job and being copied the profit model. She wasn't just an it girl, she was the first influencer. Rihanna, 2010s. She went quiet, and the world got louder. No album, no interviews, just runway looks, billion-dollar brands, and a baby bump in diamonds. Rihanna didn't disappear, she ascended. In the 2010s, Rihanna transformed from global pop star into a cultural category. Her beauty line, Fenty, didn't just sell makeup, it set a new industry standard. Foundations for everyone. Inclusivity wasn't a trend, it was a business edge. She stopped performing like a celebrity. She moved like a CEO. Red carpets became case studies. Oversized puffers, sheer dresses, off-duty power. Every look was intentional, every absence strategic. Then came the pregnancy reveal. Belly out, jewels layered, chin up. She didn't pose like she was expecting. She posed like she was leading. Rihanna proved that an it girl doesn't need to be available. She needs to be undeniable. She didn't ask for attention. She replaced the need to ask. Bella Hadid, 2020s. She didn't speak, she trended. Slick bun, vintage tee, micro sunglasses. Bella Hadid didn't share her personality, she distributed her aesthetic. In the 2020s, visibility isn't about charisma, it's about compatibility. Bella became the most studied woman on the internet by matching the feed. Every photo looked curated, even when it wasn't. Her street style became searchable. Her runway walk became a TikTok sound. Even her facial structure got analyzed on Reddit threads and Pinterest boards. Bella wasn't mysterious, she was modular. She rarely spoke, but her looks were loud. Spray-on dresses, vintage silhouettes, archival references. Each appearance became an asset. She doesn't sell products, she sells templates. And that's the difference. Bella Hadid isn't famous because of what she does. She's famous because of what her image lets us do with it. She's not an it girl, she's the default setting. The it girl changes with the times, but the spotlight never softens. Each one reflected what the world wanted most from women: chaos, control, rebellion, beauty, silence, or spectacle. If you want more cultural deep dives like this, hit subscribe. There's more behind the curtain.